Okay, so let's start. I'll share my screen. Okay, we are here. There's the screen. All right, guys, is my screen visible to everybody? Give me a thumbs up if the screen is visible to everybody. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the speaker today. We have Mr. Sunny Verma. Mr. Verma is an Indian national, but he is uh, settled in England, in Scotland, since the last nearly 20 years. He's the general manager of Mercure Glasgow City Hotel, and he did a talk for us yesterday as well. He's continuing his talk today with your group, and he will be talking to you a little bit about cost control, supply chain management, licensing laws in the UK, and anything other than that. You can ask him questions regarding beverages and regarding his experience in the industry. So hopefully you learn from his experience. If you have any questions, please post it in the group chat or switch on your camera and switch on your mic, and please ask him the question after his presentation is over. All right, so just give me a second. Admitting few more students. So Mr. Verma, so what I'm going to do today is I'm just introducing the event. We've done the attendance. After the introduction of the speaker, I'll give the stage to Mr. Verma, and he will talk to you about his experiences. Then there will be a question answer session for around 15-20 minutes, followed by closing remarks, and then we finish for today. Hopefully we can do it in 1 hour. The reason is, just to remind you, Mr. Sunny Verma is in UK. So for him, it's still 5 o'clock in the morning. And he is kind enough to wake up so early in the morning to come and talk to us. And of course, after this, he has to rush to his office. So hopefully we finish on time. So Mr. Sunny Verma, his brief profile is given on the screen. At the moment, he's the general manager for Mercure Glasgow City Hotel. Before this, some of his major appointments, he's been the finance manager of McDonald Hotels and Resorts in Bathgate. That's also in Scotland. He has been the interim general manager of Buchanan Arms Leisure and Spa Hotel. He's been the general manager for Edinburgh City Hotel. Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland. He's also been the assistant financial controller for Edinburgh City Hotel. So you will see that he has quite a lot of experience in managing the hotel as well as in finance. So, things like cost control. Mr. Sunny Verma's key expertise are general management of the hotel, revenue and commercial management, financial management, F&B, refurbishment, quality management, business management. So you can read the whole paragraph which is written here. Lots of detailed experience. For nearly 20 years, he's been in the industry. And in UK, he's been for nearly 19 years now and still counting. Mr. Sunny Verma did his diploma in India in hotel and catering management, followed by a bachelor's in international hospitality management from Queen Margaret University in Scotland. Other than this, he also has a lot of professional qualifications, which he keeps doing. In fact, he was actually doing, he was attending a training even last week. So we had to find time, and he's gracious enough to give us his time this week, just after his trainings got finished. So also something I wanted to share with all of you is that we are very old friends. We actually did our diploma and our bachelor's together. So Mr. Sunny is my classmate. Both of us studied the bachelor's in our diploma in India and a bachelor's in UK. In fact, we even did our industrial training together in the same, very nice five-star hotel. So after I had a talk with him yesterday, I was searching through my old photographs. He doesn't know that I'm going to show this to you right now, but I found a couple of photographs. Sunny, if it's okay if I show a couple of old
Yeah, it's
photographs,
fine, Mayuk. This is going to be awkward, but it's okay.
just two photos I found of both of us together. Sorry. So that's here. These are from our industrial training. We did it in Taj Hotels, which is one of the leading hotels of the world, based in India, a prime property in India. So this was us doing a training. This is Mr. Sunny and this is me. I had a mustache those days. And then this is Mr. Sunny and me. We were actually, after our training day, we were roaming around in the zoo. So this was, this is very, very long ago. And uh, for 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 us it's nostalgia. For you it may be, you know just a funny story of these old people, but it's quite an interesting time we had long ago. So now, without wasting much time, I'll give the stage to Mr. Sunny. uh, just give me 1 second, let me just share his presentation. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so Mr. Sunny, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Mayuk. Quite an introduction. It was not similar to yesterday one. Obviously, as you go and every day is a learning day, every second is a learning day. And going on the aspect of what I would address him as Mayuk rather than Dr. Mayuk, because it sounds odd for me to address him Dr. Mayuk. I know he's been addressing me Mr. Verma, which is a bit odd. Uh, and being in the European countries, you call mostly people by their first name. So it is very difficult until you are somebody from the royal family or you're a cabinet. But uh, going on that aspect, yes, every day is a learning day, and you should continue to learn. Uh, be it reading a newspaper, be it reading an article, you always gain a knowledge. Just even spending 5 minutes reading something makes a difference, because it's not all about going through the whole theoretical aspect. It's also about your knowledge outside class and outside world helps you to generate yourself and make you more confident and know the more awareness about the world and what's happening in your industry or any field you're working in. So it is quite important. And I would say continue studying or continue elaborate your knowledge. Uh, uh, Something which Mr. Mayuk did not say. Uh, we were not the brightest students. Mr. Mayuk was the brightest student. I was not the brightest student around. Certain things I was good at in the college, certain things I wasn't. And I was talking to him yesterday. It is surprising. Landed up doing about in 20 years of my career in UK, 10 years as finance management and 10 years as being front of the house, being a general manager and operations manager. But the finance management is quite different when it comes to the knowledge aspect. And as I said, I was not the brightest student. I think so. I barely passed when it came to the P&L and accounting in the college, but it turned out to be completely different ball game. Running the hotel, 5 hotels as a finance manager, so things were quite different in that sense. So it does make a difference about the knowledge, and you can keep increasing your knowledge whenever you feel like. Moving on to the next slide, Mayuk. Just in generalized, what is the role of a beverage manager in beverage management? It is to do inventory and handle the purchasing of supplies and ingredient for making each drink on the restaurant menu. They will likely to handle the changing and updating of the drink menu when trends fade and new ones are popularized. This job has taken on more important role within the strategy with the time changing. Uh, Last bit is quite important. People have started going towards healthy drinking habits also. It's not all about wines, spirits. You need to understand there's a whole wild world when it comes to beverage management. Prime example is you have a lot of people having cafes, liking different cappuccinos, like different hot drinks. And again, the fact of understanding the trend of the market is quite important. When I said your knowledge is key, this is where it comes to. It does not manage in beverage management, manage meant to be overall picture of your professional career. Knowledge is key. You can go any stream anywhere. And I've seen some of my friends doing hospitality turned out to be a lawyer, CA, and all that stuff. So it's just knowledge is key, as I said. So you need to adapt to the trends. Moving on to the next slide, Mayuk. These are the key aspects I highlighted from what my knowledge is. And this is not taken from any book or anything. This has just been put straightforward from what my understanding has been over the time period in the industry. So, key aspect of beverage control is stock taking policy, retail price, stock taking inventory control, and point of sale management. What you need to understand, you need to identify the major planning areas involved to manage cost, pricing, and revenue for achieving profit. End of the day, we are all, every company is in the business to make profit. If you're making a negative loss, your business is not sustainable. Even if you open your own restaurant, bar, or you become an entrepreneur to open any of your business. So applying these controls and techniques and documentation, how you do your stock taking for receiving and storing and issuing product, is another key aspect you need to understand. Outline the rationale and procedure for stock control in bars or any of your beverage element in the industry is another point I would refer to. It is very important. And explain about the point of sale system used for stock and beverage. See, the point of sales of system uh, has gone extra step in last couple of years, and with COVID it also has changed massively. Things which were supposed to be coming in few years time has come in front. Most of the companies uses are you can your point of sale system helps you control everything. You can have a fully suffocated system, or you can have just for your sales mix, telling you what's your highest sales drink, what's your lowest, which helps you to maintain stock control. What do you need to buy, what you don't need to buy, and that is where your cash flow and profitability factor comes in place. When you have specific procedures and control for recording the stock and the beverage, uh, the rigorous systems of stock taking helps you to control the cost, identify the profit margin areas, and identify the problem areas. And your problem areas can be varied from different things. So you need to understand what could be your problem is. I'm not going to go in detail about problem area. That is where stock taking and loss uh, stuff comes in. And POS can help you to do your stock take also. Whatever delivery is coming out depends on how much money or money is. Don't get me wrong, cash flow is quite king in any industry or any business. You don't have a cash flow, your business does not survive. And that comes from the financial knowledge I've recently gained or I have attained in last year. So the areas for loss control you need to consider is pilferage, waste control, bar owner requisition, cash control, register control, like misuse of the stuff, free drinks and discounts, accounting error, credit for customer, department requisition, overbuying. This is very important for it. Do not buy things for the sake of buying it. Look at your products, what you need to buy, what's not. So analyze your sales when you're doing ordering it. So ordering requisition is very important for future. Mixed drinking problem, when you do incorrect pouring, that is where also it's quite important. Inconsistent price also impacts your stock. And if you have somebody who's inexperienced, fairly new, and makes it difficult, and you different techniques, Staff employment is crucial. Training is important and it makes a lot of a difference. You do training. Security of the stock is also important. In the beverage, it is very important to adopt and control the control system and techniques, which helps to establish the standard procedure and preparation. And it all depends upon your size and production method of the business. And if you can keep these controls in place, it helps you to generate the profit, because as I said, end of the day, it's all about profit management and putting proper controls in procedure. I will close this part by saying that if you have effective control system, be it beverage, be it in journal, it makes a significant difference in the profitability of the business. So it's very important in making sure you have significant controls, procedure, and effective method of managing the systems and the procedure. Moving on to the next slide, please. Again, this is through my experience. You can people put around different ways of this. Supply chain management is a very wide topic and it varies from industry to industry. Okay, so when briefly speaking about, you need to analyze what your requirement of the business is. You consolidate exactly what you want. You tender out and contract out to the supplier. Do not go to the cheapest supplier. People say, oh, I need to make profit. The cheapest supplier is not the best, sometimes not the best one. You need to evaluate every aspect when you tender or contract your supply chain, your supplier, because you are customer to him and you are going to sell that product to somebody else. So it is important the way, the method it is made, to the way it is being delivered to you before it goes out to the third party. So you are a mediator. So it is very important. And what one of the key aspect of supply chain management currently is, and you should all be aware of it, and this is becoming a huge factor. And being generation Y or X, some of you, it is important. And I know I'm referring this, probably me and Mayuk might be generation D or C. You know, we're quite old, but this is what generation X, Y is, who are completely true to the technology and know what's going on. They are more interested in the sustainability and environmental factor. And this is key. You do not choose your supplier who is benefiting from not helping the environment. And people are very much aware of what impact them things are happening on the environment. So you have to be very careful when you choose your supplier in that sense. Look at the route, where they're buying it from, to put it in a whole sales stuff to sell it to you, then you retail out. That is very key. Again, inventory management is key, because when the stock is delivered, you need to make sure it is correctly marked, because that is again your profitable. And I said beverage control, inventory management, that is where it comes again. People can have people can steal it or theft it or underscore it, and everybody can make errors also. The delivery driver might have not delivered it, you might have not noticed it. So there are very these are very important factors. So key line checks is important. You know, you can get thousands of pounds of an order. I've seen a 10,000 order coming around, and I have gone and checked myself from 100 spirits to barrels and all that stuff. But it is key, because one barrel can make a huge loss, or one bottle of spirits which has got 28 nips, that could cost you something about 500-600 pounds in your sales, you know. So that's your loss. So it is very important in management. And consumer, again, consumer is aware of the fact of what I mentioned before, sustainability and environmental factor. Consumer are very clued of it. The plastic straws and all this stuff started disappearing, you know. This is very important. And if we don't, the generation to come, which is going to be generation Z and going back to Z1, Z2, whatever you can cast, they wouldn't have that luxury of living in a non-polluted environment. And we do see a lot of campaign done regarding environmental issues, and even the whole world has realized it, the top leaders that it is quite a key factor. So please make sure you are going to be the generation which is going to make a difference. When you go to an industry, make sure you stick to it. Do not let supply dictate you, even if he's not following the environmental and sustainability factor. It is good for you because come future generation like us have started being healthy and looking into it. And COVID is in a prime example. You have to be hygiene enough. So it is, everything is in the environment. So please make sure you be aware of this point. I would really stress out this is quite an important factor, and this is going to continue and will become a part of your normal day-to-day life. Moving on to the next, uh, alcoholic license law. It's a very wide subject. I can sit around and talk about it whole day. Okay, but I've just put around couple of bullet points, and every business, organization, individual who wants to sell alcohol must have a license on or other authorization from the licensing authority, usually a local council. The law and policy is in the area are governed by the home office, or what you call as internal affairs, and it can include selling in the bars, pubs, cinemas, theaters, nightclubs, cafes, takeaways, village, community hall, and supermarket. The premises license is quite an important factor. Any business or other organization that sells or supply alcohol on permanent basis need to apply premises premises license to the local authority. So this is, you cannot sell it. It's not like, I'm not disrespecting anybody, but it's not like you go to other countries and you can get alcohol, but you can't. It is a very stringent law in UK. Uh, and UK is regarded currently as the best in Europe with the control of underage drinking and all that stuff. There were It's come leaps and bounds in last 5 to 10 years. And then talking about the personal license, anyone who wants to sell or supply alcohol, and I'm saying anyone, that includes me. If I'm going to sell and supply alcohol or authorize the sale of it, watch the words, authorize the sale. So I'm authorizing the sale of a sale or supply of alcohol must have a personal license. Every premises has to have a designated personal license holder. Without that, you cannot train people, you cannot have people serving behind the bar. So usually in a business like a hotel of mine, I have myself as a personal liquor license holder, which is valid for 10 years. Every 5 years you have to give an exam for the validity of that license, and after, you have to apply it to the consul. You have police verification, home checks are done, and everything, identifications are done, and it is valid for 10 years, but you have to resit an exam after 5 years, and then in 10 years you have to start from the scratch. You have to resit the whole examination process from uh, for the terms of getting personal license. And there's different, like same for the business buying alcohol from the wholesaler, they need to have their own personal license. Designated premises supervisor, again a personal license can have a designated uh, supervisor. They also need to have certain qualification. If they don't, you cannot have a designated supervisor on the premises, and you do need to have a designated supervisor on the premises from on the business all the time, 24 hours. The person chosen to be designated will act as a primary contact for a local government, and they must understand the social impact and potential problems associated with the sale of alcohol, and also have a good understanding of the business itself. So it is very important. And going on this next subject, how do I change my club license? Again, uh, you have to follow the procedures, and club members, again, this does not come under your locker. As I said, there's different licensing for different things, from your supermarket and to your bars, nightclubs, and all that stuff. So club members can operate under club premises certificate instead of premises license. This means they're not required. The biggest difference, they're not required to have a designated supervisor. In pubs, bars, restaurant, nightclubs, you need to have a designated supervisor. Whereas clubs does not need to have a designator, and a sale of alcohol also do not need a personal license holder. So this is quite important in that aspect. Moving on to the next bit, temporary events. It's the same thing. If I'm going to have a temporary event, or an open event, you can have occasional licenses applied to the council, extended hours, because you need to have an operating plan submitted to the authorities. And if you deviate from the deviate from your operating plan, you need to make sure you have a permission from the authorities. Otherwise, you would not be able to uh, have you might be able sorry you will be getting fine, and personal your personal license can be revoked. So it is important that you do not deviate. If you want to extend your hours for any temporary event, like say I have a wedding which needs, but my wedding event license is only till 1 o'clock, but I need it for 3 o'clock, I need to apply to the council for extension for even for that day, one day. If I don't, you can get fined, and people can, the hotel, bar, or restaurant, whoever is having that event, can lose the license. And on top of it, a personal liquor license holder can be fined by allowing the authorization of the sale of alcohol, and can lose his license. That means you'll not be able to serve alcohol anymore for considerable period of time. The fine varies depending on what the accusations are. And licensing activities, again, it's similar. You need to remember what's going on and all that stuff. It is very important. All business and organization that undertake licensing activities on permanent basis must have a premises license from a local authority, which is what I've explained to you. And mandatory license condition, again, it's a huge wide subject. You can look into more in details. I've left the guidance notes for you, which is quite in detail about from government.co.uk. And please remember, uh, GDPR is quite important, general protection data for everyone, be it in licensing, be it in journal, in any industry, is very important, because giving out customer information without their consent can lead a company or a business a huge fine. So that is very, very important. But as I said, it's all there. You want to indulge in more in details, you can in your own time if you feel like. But as and licensing laws varies between England, Wales, and Scotland. You need to remember UK is comprised of 5 different nations, so there's a bit of minor variation of laws in different uh, countries, even though it's called United Kingdom. But as soon as you cross the border of England to Scotland, the licensing law changes, and you are governed by the local authorities of those nations. And but there's few objectives which are governed in Scotland. They are about 4 of them, which is prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of the children from harm is a very important factor. If you see crime and disorder, alcohol does lead to crime and disorder, public safety, and also public nuisance and protection of children. Because when you're under the influence of alcohol and bringing up drugs, it does have an impact on the mental status of people. Mayuk, moving on the next slide, please. The reason I put around when I said about crime and disorder under children and public nuisance, this is which is very important. Any place, any supermarket, any pub, anywhere in UK, even if you're buying from the airport, you can be challenged to show your ID proof. If you're under 20, if you feel to be, if you they think you're under 25, they can ask you to ask you to provide you a valid proof and ID, which has to be passport, a photographic driving license, or biogram, which is your identification issued in UK if you travel to UK for considerable period of time. And they can, as it says, please be prepared to show your proof of age while buying age restricting products, and alcohol is one of it. And that is where I say to you, drinking awareness is quite an important fact in UK, and this has changed over a considerable period of time, and people are more aware of it, and they're moving to healthy drinking. Yes, I'm not denying it. Beverage is a key part of profitability. You make at least 65 to 75% gross margin on a beverage sale, or even a shot of whiskey sold anywhere in the world. You can easily make around 75% profit on one shot. So you can well imagine if your bottle is about 30, bottle of malt is about 30 pounds, add 75% on it, how much money you're making. But this is also vulnerable in terms of losses also. Biggest place where you can have the biggest losses also. So that's me on the presentation. And if we can put on the next slide, yes, it's done. Another day. And the reason I put that picture, every day is a self-achievement. And when I was putting this slide around, looked for, I did look for a picture which can be more of a motivation for you and a bit funny, because when you achieve something, you do feel that you do have your fist bump up and you do it. You know, you have done it. So, be in any sports, be in any part of your life, this is what it is. Uh, and now I'm open for any questions. If anybody has any question, maybe.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you so much for your interesting talk. Everybody, like I said, you can ask any questions you have. You can post it on the group chat, or you can switch on your mic and your camera, and you can ask. While you're thinking of your questions, maybe Sunny, I can post one question to you. What changes do you foresee in the near future after the pandemic is over when it comes to hospitality, F&B, service styles? So what changes do you see in the restaurants, room service, etc.?
The biggest change which has already started, Mayuk, is you suffocated technology system. Technology has overtaken a little bit of a personal touch, but it will still remain the hospitality. People started saying, yo, hospitality is never dead. People will keep traveling. The business still needs people to travel. People still needs to go out of their house to drink food, and because you do get bored. But the biggest change which has already people have hospitality started adapting is technology. Prime example I'm going to give you of my company. We were trying to bring something called Order with Joe. It's an app. You can sit around as soon as you made your room booking or you want to come and dine in, so you can book through while walking upstairs in the room. In the lift, I can order it, book it. So rather than having that personal touch, because you need to remember with COVID, what has changed is you're handing the menu. When you hand over the menu, that has an impact. And it's a hygiene aspect, which the technology which was going to come in 2 to 3 years time has moved forward by a couple of years with COVID, which is good for the industry because a lot of companies have invested heavily in this, and you can see that change is getting adapted with it. Everything, you have it on your phone now, your bank, get everything. So technology is going to be key, and if you don't as I said, you need to change with the changing time. And if you do not adapt to the technology aspect, you will be left behind. Yes, you do need somebody to serve behind the bar. I'm not denying it. You do need somebody to bring the food to your table. But that is one aspect. Plus, that elaborate decorations has subsidized a little bit. People don't want that much decoration because, again, the hygiene is like, I don't know when I'm sitting around the cutlery which is like, who's touched it? People like that stuff to be brought to your table straight when you're serving. So that elaboration decoration table has gone away. That is another aspect. People want limited stuff, and I don't want to scare anyone. Hospitality is not going anywhere. Okay, career is still out there. Okay, it is not going to finish. And now, what I said, mark my words, you need to still travel. Sitting in the house is not going to happen. Everything has an end date. You know, this will get over. Things have started changing in some of the countries. You, Scotland, UK is going to be fully open by the 17th of May for anything. The hospitality industry in UK opened yesterday, on Monday, sorry, and people are going, shops have opened. So because the infection rate is less at the moment, it's the best since the pandemic started, So things changes, and that is due to, I'm going to say to you guys, do take the vaccination if you get a chance, because that is what is going to drive it, and your body do need. And when I said healthy eating habits, environmental friendly is another factor which is going to have an impact with the change of COVID. So 3 points: technology, not elaborate dining setup, and environmental are the key factors.
Thank you so much, Sunny. Regarding what Mr. Sani said, taking vaccines, I think there's many of us who has taken the vaccine already because they are just to let you know, Sani, my students, they are spread all across the world. They
Mhm.
are from all across the world and they are still in different parts of the world. Some of them are stuck in China, some of them are stuck in Indonesia, some in Japan. So some of them have taken the vaccine already, and some of them, like us in Malaysia, we still are waiting for the vaccine. Uh, it's still being distributed, so the numbers are hopefully going to happen soon. All right, so everybody, do you have any questions you want to ask Mr. Zani? Any questions, people? Okay, while
Interesting one. Yes. Yesterday there was a lot of questions coming, so it probably seems like
yesterday there was a
people.
lot of questions. People who've not done attendance, again, I'm copying it up. I've opened it again. So some of you can keep doing your attendance. The code is also in your group chat. And for the others, please ask questions. The industry is here. We've brought the industry to you, to your classroom. So you can also ask future questions. You can ask his experiences, good experiences, bad experiences. So you can ask any kind of questions.
Yeah, just elaborating on me. It's not about just beverage control. You can ask any question related to revenue, finance, sales, events. Be feel free to ask. And one thing I would say, as I said, knowledge is key. Keep studying, increase your knowledge, even when you go in the professional field. It is important factor. And everybody's unique. Remember, you might not be the best that day, but you might, it turns out to be next day you're the best. So everybody's unique in one sense or the other, that you need to remember. And always appreciate the work of a person, even in your university. Do not hesitate in appreciating the work. That thank you hello goes a long way. Be it in it's, and you are in Australia, that is natural, should come natural to you anyway. But a person who's cleaning your toilets in the university, go and give him a hug and say thank you for doing it during the pandemic, because whoever is there at the moment when the pandemic is over, because if he's not done that, you guys wouldn't have been doing it. So even in the industry, who things cannot work if you do not have the KPs, you do not have the housekeeping girls doing the rooms, porters. It is
Sunny,
the
could you
biggest.
share the 3 Ps with this group today, which you shared yesterday with everybody?
Yeah, that's fine. I would. The big, there's one principle I've always followed, uh, and that's just a general principle I've followed of, which is called 3 Ps: product, people, and profit. If your product is good, your people are well trained, and they are appreciated, the profit will come automatically, because you have a very nice product, nice 5 star, 7 star, whatever kind of bar, restaurant, whatever. I'm just saying in general. Even if you go to any retail outlet, it's a nice Gucci or Armani shop or whatever you want to say as big supermarket. And if the product is laid out properly and the staff are nice and ready to help you around, and end of the day, as a manager, when I finish my shift, I even say thank you. That goes in turn, because the service will be there and people will like to come back to you again and again. It's the repeating factor which makes it different.
Sunny, we have another question here, which is, what is the toughest challenge that you have faced while getting to this position, from from your last few years till the time you reached a general manager's position? Can you share some really tough challenge which you faced and how you dealt with that challenge?
The toughest challenge I faced was initially to come around, I would say, just in general, was a language barrier. Even though English is our first language in India, and some of the people do have English as a first language, but you need to remember every country has a different dialects and different ways of dealing it, and we to adapt to the people how they speak and how their dialects and accent is are. It takes time, and you do get rude awakening to that. And I'm not sounding this bad, but we still remain in the world of colonization and 18th and 19th century. The racism does exist. So for somebody who's been in 19 years, you start your career somewhere else in your country. You might be in by the time might be the director of operations or MD, but you go to a different country. Yes, you're have a good lifestyle and everything, and I'm fortunate enough to have that lifestyle. But I had my few challenges, and I felt somewhere in the career I do was let down. I could have been a uh, in I don't want to share the name of the company, but one of my ex MD met me after a company was bought over. After working for them for a considerable period of time, he said you should have been a general manager 6 years ago when he handed me that job after that, because the opportunity came 3 times in 6 years. And I went and run that place for 3, 4 months, and I was incentivized. And 3, 4 months before they could hire permanent GM as a temporary GM in different places for the company, at times being in finance and all that stuff. And he said, I'm sorry, but the CEO or the owner of the company did not feel like that an Asian person should be running our business, because he shouldn't be the face of the. But things have changed. So that's been my biggest challenge, and it does exist, but do not be scared of it. You will be let down, you will be feeling bad about it, but get up, take it on a chin, and as they say in an, I'm going to give you an example of only football. Hit the ball to go into the goal post, because you need to remember where your end is. You might, before reaching from one end of the field to another end of the field, you will fall down. There will be bits and pieces. You might get injuries, but your end aim is to score that goal. And if you score that goal, you're happy. And end of the day, I want to have a good night's sleep, be there for my family, which is very important factor. Money, yes, money is important. I'm not going to deny it, but your family is important more than anything. And this pandemic has made people realize family comes first, life comes first, other things will follow.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you. Anybody? Any other questions? You can switch on your camera and mic, and you can ask as well. While we were waiting for your questions, can I also request everybody to switch on your camera so that I can take a group photo of everybody? Quickly, everybody switch on your cameras. Zichi, you are wearing a mask already, yeah? Are you at home? Are you outside home?
I'm at the campus now.
All right, okay. Stay safe, huh?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, guys, waiting for the others. Quickly switch on your cameras so then we can do a nice group photo. Okay, I have one page ready. Can everybody give me a thumbs up so I can click a print screen? 1, 2, 3. All right, fantastic. Any other page? Second page? All right, so the others are not switching on. Thank you, people who switched on the cameras. Do you have any more questions before we leave Mr. Sunny to go to his work? I know it's early in the morning. It's nearly 7 o'clock in the morning. He has to go to office. Anybody has any questions? Hendrik, any questions?
Yeah, I can maybe ask one, but so why did you choose to work in the UK? Why did you decided to start there and not somewhere else?
Funny. You want my honest answer? You want a diplomatic answer, Hendrik? Because when you become a general manager, you started being diplomatic. So you learn the skills of the trade as you go with an experience. But I will give you an honest answer. I had a choice: Australia or UK. Okay, and obviously, what worked for me being with IIHM, which is International Institute of Hotel Management in Kolkata. Uh, we had a collaboration with Queen Margaret University, and I came here in UK on a 9 months visa. Uh, bit of a shock when I looked at the hospitality. It was completely different from the 5-star standards which we have in Asian countries. If I'm being honest, the standards we have in Asian countries are far better than what you have it here. I'm
Yeah.
being honest. So I'm being honest about it. And it has its own advantage. So just came on it was only 9 months visa, got extended because my graduation did not fell off for 6 months, and got a graduate manager job within that time period, and my visa got extended for 2 years. Then I studied for another 2 years, did national vocational qualification in leadership in management and that stuff. And then a work visa fell in my court, and then rest is history. I've enjoyed my time thoroughly, but given a choice now in my life, if somebody says and somebody comes tomorrow, do you want to go walk in India? I would say yes.
Yeah, because like I'm from Belgium and I can see a massive difference between Asia and Europe. It's
Yes. Yep.
yeah. Maybe the only reason why I would love to work back in Europe is because of the high salary, but
Yeah,
yeah.
no, but it's true. I said the living standard is different, okay, and the standard of living is different. We need to respect. See, I've been to Germany, I've been to France, I've been to Switzerland to Lausanne Institute of Management, Ecuador. You might know that's one of the best hospitality
They
industry.
are our competitors, Sunny.
Yeah, I've been there and from there I went for a leadership and management scholarship training for 4 or 3 days, and saw the hospitality difference in Switzerland. And I know people say Swiss, they are the best. But Henrik, you've just said it, you are from Belgium. Every culture has a different aspect. But yes, industry is different in Europe to compare to Asia. When it comes to standards, excellent service, and how you deal with the stuff, uh, making sure it's spotless, you need to learn from Asian countries. When you come to Europe or UK or a certain parts of the world, uh, there's a lot of laws and regulation that you cannot say certain member of staff also that way. And Henrik, I know you're smiling right now. You know it yourself.
Yeah.
There is unions, trade unions, this, that. You have to be very, very careful how you word it around, because one word, I've been victimized. The word victimized, just you're sitting around, there's HR involved, there's this people involved, and it's just laws are so stringent, and it is to protect people like us, and it includes me protecting me also. I'm not going to say that. But employment law makes a bit of a difference, but service standards are massively different. You go to a pub and a bar here, there's a big event going around or another thing. Sometimes after you've had your dinner, people bar person just pour a pint and throw it on you. He does not care end of the day because he wants to make the maximum sale. You go to India, you will say, you go to, sorry, I'm saying India, but you go to Asian country, any 5-star, I'm saying a nice 5-star hotel or a big horse racing event and all that stuff. After you've had your dinner and people are enjoying themselves, people are kind enough. Can I help you, sir? And all stuff. That's the difference, you know. And I'm not going to die. Yes, you're right to say money is a huge factor. Money is, but mine was a different ball game. I did not go back, Henrik. It's just turned around one thing after the other. And sometimes I know hard work and knowledge is key. But and I said to Mayuk yesterday, sometimes you're destined to do something, you will do it. If you're not destined to do something, you're not. Firm believer, hard work and destiny works in tandem. As they say, you do not clap by one hand. You get a power when you close your 5 fingers. It's the same thing. Everything works in tandem. You cannot have one thing working for you.
Yes, thank you for your answer.
No problems.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sunny. That was an interesting experience, sharing of experience. So on behalf of everybody in Taylor's University and on behalf of my students and my colleagues, I would like to thank you for your time,
Thank you.
especially waking up so early in the morning to talk to us and share your experience. Definitely, as we discussed earlier, I will engage you in the future as well. Hopefully at a more proper UK time. I'll take care of your time and engage you in
As long
proper
as you
business hours in the
As long
future.
as it's 5:45 in the morning, it's fine. This today was fine. Yesterday was a killer. Mayuk 4:45 in the morning. I don't like to get up at half 3, 4 in the morning. Sorry. I would love to when it's so severely cold. And Henrik will say, coming from Belgium, how cold it can be at times here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sani. Mr.
Thank
Anshul,
you.
would you like to add anything?
No, fine. Thank you, Mayuk. Mr. Verma, it was a nice talk. You have enlightened our students with about the revenue management and how the cost control takes place in the bar and the hotels, especially. So it was an eye opener for our students. Thank you very much for this wonderful talk, and we hope to
Thank
see
you.
you again in our campus sometime in the future.
Yep. Thank you,
Fantastic.
Anshul.
All right. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming for this class. I will see you guys in the next week. And thank you, Sunny, and thank you, Mr. Anshul, for being here as well. Everybody have a nice week ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.